All right, everybody, let's roll. Welcome to AZ Wordsmith's Stories That Matter. For those of you who don't know, this is Badass and Brilliant. This is our 2-year anniversary. Why are stories important? And I'm going to roll through this because this is a lot for me to memorize and I didn't do it well. Stories foster compassion and understanding. They help people appreciate the complexities of the human condition, I think. And they recognize the shared humanity that we all have. Stories convey our sense of right and wrong and our organizational culture, the expectations we set for ourselves and others that we know. Stories shape our worldviews, our concerns, our fascinations, and our lives in general. Reynolds Price once said, our need to tell and hear stories is essential. Stories are second in necessity after nourishment, before love and shelter. We can survive without love or home, but rarely in silence. Okay, are you ready for the first? Okay. Our first storyteller tonight is Larry Urish.
What a crowd. Thank you for coming. Can you hear me back there okay? I hope you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving and a wonderful Thanksgiving meal. My Thanksgiving was a little different. There were the usual suspects. I went down to Scottsdale to be with cousins, and they served the usual stuff. There was the cranberry sauce and the gravy and the stuffing and the pumpkin pie and the hookers and the cocaine and the crystal meth. I'm only kidding. We didn't have any gravy. We did have turkey. We had lots of turkey. What was unusual about this turkey is the fact that my cousins met the turkey, adopted the turkey, fostered the turkey, fell in love with the turkey, named the turkey, killed the turkey, and then ate the turkey. And it was a good turkey. You could taste the adrenaline, his last breath. But this was a huge huge albino turkey. They're very, very unusual. And I suspect, given the way I've been feeling, I think they cut some corners in terms of how they prepared the turkey. They went straight from the backyard to the pot, and I may need to see a doctor after this, but well, now I feel better. I'm glad I got that off my chest. In case you haven't noticed, I'm a bit of a prankster. I've been a prankster all of my life, most of my life. I think it began in July of '77 when I worked at the Burbank Central Library, shelving books. I would run around with the cart with the books. I had my own sections. I had the cooking section and economics and U.S. history and whatnot. Upstairs was a place where all the staffers took breaks. And the place was named by someone who was obviously a marketing genius. He called it the break room. We would go upstairs to the break room and hang out and have snacks and watch TV. They had a little 13-inch black and white Zenith. We watched Charlie's Angels, which was current then. Happy Days was current then. One day in July of '77, this is what unleashed my pranksterism. The Church of Pranksterism began, I think, that day. I was up there alone, and they used to build jigsaw puzzles. And they were communal jigsaw puzzles where people would come up on the break and they would add to that and then go back to work. One day I noticed that there was a huge jigsaw puzzle, probably 4 feet by 3 feet, must have been 2,000 to 3,000 pieces, depicting a Peanuts cartoon. You know, Peanuts, Charles Schultz, Linus, Pigpen, etc. And I had an idea. And I think that it was unlocked, the pranksterism gene became active, whatever. I'm no geneticist, but this is what happened. I saw the cartoon, Peanuts, and I saw Snoopy. And I had an idea. And I looked left and right, saw that nobody else was there. I picked up Snoopy, lifted him, shoved him into the front left pocket of my Levi's 501 jeans, and got the hell out of there. I had just dog-napped a world-class celebrity, and I felt drunk with power. 18 years old, I could have died right then. It was great. But what I did with that is more significant. I went home after my shift, got out a pair of scissors, grabbed the latest issue of my sister's Teen Beat magazine. Remember Teen Beat and all the teeny bopper magazines and all of that? It was my sister's Teen Beat magazine. And Donny Osmond and Sean Cassidy were so hot. So hot. No, it was my sister's. It was my sister's Teen Beat. Well, anyway, I got the magazine. I cut out about 1,000 individual letters, different sizes, different shapes, different fonts, and I got some Elmer's glue and pasted these letters onto what was then known as typing paper. Before computers, we did typing. And I stuck it on there and I formed a note. Given what I just did, you can guess it was probably a ransom note. And picture that for a second. You got this white sheet with all these haphazard letters in different, it was kind of chaotic, but you can read it. And the ransom note went something like this. We have your dog. He's in good hands. Seems to be eating kibble. Unless you deliver 2 bottles of Coca-Cola to the cooking section of the Burbank Central Library no later than July 22nd, 1977 at noon, rest assured your dog is going to be fit with 4 cement boots and tossed into the East River. Unless you want the pooch to do a backstroke, pay up with the Coca-Cola. We are not kidding. We are serious. Peace out. Whatever. I added something to the ransom note that was very telling to show them that I wasn't messing around. And to add some context to that, we have to go back 3 years from 1977. This may be the audience participation part of the show, but nod your heads if you remember this story. This really happened. In 1973 in Italy, John Paul Getty III, you're already nodding, I love you. The grandson of J. Paul Getty, the world's richest man, was kidnapped by the Italian mob and held for $17 million. J. Paul Getty, the old man, was not only the world's richest man, he was also obviously the world's richest cheapskate because he held out and tried to negotiate. True story. Those of you nodding your heads, you know where this is headed. About a week later, with the hesitation, a local Italian newspaper received the following thing in the mail in an envelope. One of John Paul Getty III's severed ears in the mail. Okay. Finally, the old man paid up. The kid came back. Everything was fine, but he came back without an ear. So I added something to my ransom note. It was a piece of the puzzle, audience participation. I'll give you a guess. What body part was on that piece of the puzzle from Snoopy? No, it was his tail, but nice try. It was his ear. And you know, I'm here to tell you that it didn't work. They never paid up. Good night. They paid up. They paid about a week later. I was shelving books, minding my own business. I looked down in the cooking section at the appointed place, and there they were, 2 bottles of Coke. Again, I felt drunk with power. I went upstairs, downed both Cokes, felt drunk with power with the sugar rush, and all was well. Now, to this very day, 47 years later, I'm not sure who paid the ransom. And I know for a fact they never figured out who kidnapped Snoopy, wrote the ransom note, lopped off his ear, and, you know, amazingly that night when I got the Coca-Cola, a librarian found that Snoopy had been miraculously returned and all was well. And the rest is history. As far as the mystery of who did what, we don't know. But there's another aspect to this tale that's worth sharing, and it kind of takes a somber twist, and that is I didn't know at the time, at that young age, that for years prior to that, I'd been suffering from what's called major depression. It's awful. If you know what it's like, you don't have to nod your head, don't out yourself, but it's like having a 20,000-ton black cloak on your body and you can't take it off. And it's a question in the morning of not necessarily getting out of bed, but getting out from under the bed. And I wish I could say that that went away through time, but it never did in the last 50 years. The good news, and this is the tie-in, pulling pranks helps. It helped in 1977. It helped all the way through until this very day. And so I still have the depression, but I like messing with people. I really do. So, if one of you winds up with a bumper sticker downstairs that says, "Bite me, officer, I am driving drunk," that would be me. If you open your medicine cabinet tomorrow morning and out comes a rubber python, that would be me. If you bite into a jelly-filled donut and discover, no, it's filled with hot Tabasco sauce, first of all, you're welcome. That would be me. And finally, this is the bizarre one. If you go out to your mailbox and you see that you have a deflated Nazi dominatrix blow-up doll stuffed into your mailbox, that would be mine, okay? Okay. Her name is Greta. I'm a guy. I have needs. Please return her. Happy holidays. Thanks for coming out. See you next time.
When Larry first told that story to us, we had no idea about the feathers. He actually pranked us, and we loved it so much that we wanted it to stay. We don't normally do stuff like that, bits, but it was just so part of the story you couldn't do it without it. It was just perfect. It was just perfect. A testimonial from one of Larry's friends, which incidentally, before I say this, Larry is a regular at open mic, the AZ Wordsmith open mic, which is the second Wednesday of every month in the Sundance. No, it's here now. We do it here. We grew, so it's here now. But he tells wonderful stories, and he's funny as hell. A great writer. He really knows how to connect people and stories, and of course, he is funny. He is funny, as you got a taste. Larry is a semi-retired freelance writer. To see some of his essays online, and including a more detailed write-up of the ransom note, simply Google Larry the Positive Pessimist. So we asked them to answer a few questions before they come on so that we could learn a little bit about them. And I give them a list and they kind of go through it. They answer whichever ones they want to. Larry didn't, he just gave me answers, so I don't know what questions these go to. Yeah, let me see. Let's see, it's... What would I bring on a desert island? Oh, okay. Julia Child for the cooking, and Eleanor Roosevelt for the sex. So, anyways. Okay, that was fun. Couple of quotes. What we think or what we know or what we believe is in the end of little consequence. The only thing of consequence is what we do. Okay, that was from John Ruskin. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Have a safe and happy holiday season, and be careful.